10,000 years ago, a major revolution occurred. Suddenly, there was an abundance of food. Man went from hunter-gatherer to farmer. But in one area, we are still hunter-gatherers, in the area of energy. We still gather wood, oil, coal, and gas. Our hunting grounds now cover vast areas. The whole world has been combed in our quest for energy. Even our feeding grounds are no longer safe. But the hunt causes problems, huge problems. Climate change, health issues, shortages. The price is high in all respects. We are happy when the oil price drops, although we know that it's bound to increase in the end to ever higher levels. Fossil fuels have become a source of speculation, and speculators want to earn money. That's the bottom line. Fossil fuels mean power, and supplies may be forthcoming or cut off at will, which could lead to war. Fortunately, the search for gas and oil seems to be losing ground to a new revolution: the large-scale harvesting of sunshine.
My advice to all governments, to all companies, including the conventional power companies, don't make new large investments for conventional energies. It will become stranded investments in the next decade.
One country has started harvesting sunshine with a vengeance. The air is now cleaner, renewable energy is cheaper, and fossil fuel dependence has decreased. People driving through southern Germany will see farmhouses with solar panels everywhere they look. Even hills are completely covered in solar panels. Quietly and cleanly, these solar power plants generate electricity. Solar energy is a booming business. It's Germany's fastest growing industrial sector. Making Germany a solar economy was the fantasy of just one man. At the end of the 1980s, socialist politician Hermann Scheer decided to focus his efforts on solar energy and wrote 2 books on the subject. He steered the tariff law and the subsidy measures through the German parliament, but had to fight all sorts of energy scenarios along the way. Solar energy provides new jobs and new ideas. Christoph Köhler has found a new profession. He's now a solar roof investor. He took out a €10 million loan and now drives around the country all day long in search of roof space to rent on which he can install solar cells.
We are always searching about roofs like this. And it's interesting for us the type of the roof and the pitch, the alignment, and of course the owner of the roof. We rent this roof from the owner for 20 years and get near 50 cents per kilowatt hour.
For 20 years?
For 20 years, it's a guarantee.
By the government?
By the government, yes.
So that's a good business.
This is a really good business because the return of invest is near after 15 years.
Just one single oil company has also been trying to grab a piece of the pie. But at the trade fair, they don't want to comment. Not surprising, considering the solar energy market seems to be slipping through their fingers. It's been taken over by the electronics industry that's learned that upsizing and mass production works. Applied Materials is one of the companies that supplies machines for the production of chips and solar cells. Mass production and technological innovation are the buzzwords here.
I think what we're seeing is a quantum leap of consciousness happening here about energy, where energy comes from, and that there are solutions that have been studied in the lab now for more than 25 or 30 years that are ready for commercial, large-scale use. People are remembering from the last time we had an oil embargo, 1978, solar was too expensive. It was about $30 a watt for a solar panel. Today, it's well below $3 a watt. There's been a factor of more than 10 in cost reduction. Part of what's important here is to get the message out that the world has changed, and so has solar. Solar is cost-effective today.
Seville, Spain. There's enough sun, and as things now stand, Spain will be the first country in which electricity generated by sunshine will cost the same as electricity from fossil fuels. The Spanish are following Germany's example and are also introducing legislation that will make it possible to supply clean electricity to the grid. And electricity utility companies have also realized that the sun is their new fuel. Ebengoa is experimenting with large mirror power plants. The power plants currently under construction should provide 300 megawatts, which is enough for a town the size of Seville. CSP plants are extremely effective in high sunshine areas with little cloud. Will the deserts become our new energy grounds? It seems so. The Club of Rome, the German aerospace laboratory, and SCHOTT recently put forward a spectacular plan, Desert Tech. This huge plan involves the construction and installation of a network of solar plants in the countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea and the desert regions of northern Africa. These mega plants could supply electricity to Europe, for instance, by building a direct current international grid. Jordan, Amman. The harvesting of sunshine in the deserts is not only intended for use in Europe, but is also for their own use, of course. As it happens, the plants will not only produce electricity, but will also turn salt water into fresh water. So this tackles both the energy shortage and also the water shortage, which is a huge problem in the Middle East. One of the plan's spokesmen is His Royal Highness Prince El Hassan Bil Talal of Jordan, former president of the Club of Rome.
Well, essentially it is coastal solar thermal power. That means a series of coastal thermal power stations, power and desalination in cogeneration. And the concept is to take the solar power from the Gulf region across North Africa into Europe. So it is clean power for Europe, hydrogen for Europe, and power and fresh water for what is called the NAIN region, the North Africa Near East region. And the solar plan takes into consideration the proposition that Desert Tech, which I presented to the European Union, includes a consensus for the first time between the entrepreneurs, the policymakers, the technicians, so there's nobody out of the box. Everybody is agreed on the principle. The only difficulty that I see is the competition that this might create with the traditional monopoly of power, oil, and increasingly the emphasis on nuclear power. think the paradigm shift comes from the fact that we are talking about 10 billion people on the planet within a very few years. And therefore, time is tight to prepare for this 10 billion. Either the 10 billion will be killed through attrition of wars and regional calamities, or affordable and sufficient water, food and energy, as well as a stable economy and climate are used as indispensable precondition for civilized life on the planet. And that's where I go back to the complementarity between human warming and global warming. But whether it is politically acceptable is a question of egocentrism versus compassion. Do we want to live in a caring world, or do we want to live in a world of vested interests?